Hello, hello, and welcome to Awaken Your Human Design. My name is Moni, and this is Danny. And today we have a fun show for you. We are going to be going through these 6 profile lines and splitting them up between personality and design. So the difference between like a 1-4 and a 5-1, they both have that first line, but it's going to show up differently whether it's on the personality or design side.
People will find out tonight why profile is so important and how it goes so much deeper than the martyr heretic and the hermit opportunist and so forth.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really excited to kind of like dig in and get like into the little bits and pieces and the nuances of it also. It'll be a fun one. If you're interested in booking a human design reading with either Danny or myself, check out the QR code above, or I have the link down in the description box below. You can use code AWAKEN to save 10%. So if you want to hang out, learn about your chart, learn a whole bunch about yourself or your loved ones, check that out. We would love to read for you and get to know you. If you've been getting a lot out of our videos and you'd like to help support us and encourage us, check out the donation link above. I also have that down in the description box below. And as always, thank you for liking and subscribing. It really helps. Thank you for commenting and asking questions. We really love to read them. It's really fun to talk to you guys and answer your questions and engage with your enthusiasm. It's really fun. This is definitely coming from our hearts, so we love receiving that back. And let's dive into it. Let's get into these profile lines.
Oh my God, it's going to be so good, Moni.
So starting off, you have the design side, the personality side, the unconscious and the conscious side. So we're just going to unpack those a little bit. So starting off with the design side, this is unconscious. It's everything in your chart that's in red. It's going to be on the left side when you're looking at it. And this is the neutrino imprinting pertaining to the bioform, right? The physical body. The bioform is the body. Consciousness lies below one's level of awareness.
Indeed, it does. I mean, this is our design side. This is the separate consciousness that rides along with us that we've all got to make friends with. In case you wondered why it seems like you know something or something is somehow, you seem to be that way, it's in the design form. And the personality is looking at it, wondering what that is. And you're going to get to know a lot about the combination of these two things as we look at these profiles, because one's for each, one number for each, the design and the personality.
Yeah, with the design side, the way I kind of think of it is like the red, it's like blood. And you have blood that's, underneath us. It's what's pumping and doing all the work, but it's like you don't see blood. You see the effect of it, right? Like my skin's a bit more pink and it's alive. So we can see the effect of it, but we don't see it itself. So it's kind of the same with this design, this unconscious side. Ra referred to it as tunnels. Right? It's the stuff that's underneath. It's like the subway. It's moving people, but you don't really see it if you're on the top side. So that's how I kind of think of it.
You just don't know what's going on until it comes out of that tunnel. And then you know. And now you're going to get to know all these aspects that are our profile. This is really good.
Yeah. Or it's the stuff that you might not notice in yourself, but somebody else might notice in you. And then you might be able to start understanding it by somebody else noticing it, or you notice your effect on other people. Personality side, this is conscious. This is everything in your chart that's in black. This is the mind, the psyche, the light of the soul, that which is eternal. The personality is who you think you are.
Yeah, it's a really tricky thing. I'm not going to get into it, why it's who you think you are, but you think you are this thing. You think you are this thing. And really, you're so much more. It's only an aspect of it, because when the design and the personality come together, suddenly the being, after they get a good reading and start to see this working in them, they see, oh, my dear Lord, there's a whole other half of me I need to really get to know intimately. By the way, this is where I always say the true cosmic love affair is. Your twin flame is here in your design. And then sometimes there's someone outside world as well that feels really good.
Yeah, with the personality, it's the stuff you're aware of. It's the stuff that when someone points this out in your chart, you're like, "Oh yeah, totally. That's totally me. I totally do that." Whereas the unconscious is like, "Do I do that? I guess I do that. Oh, okay." And then like Danny's saying, it's understanding that there's these two parts of us that once we can kind of have them work cohesively, everything flows a lot smoother.
By the way, that cohesiveness is just through the act of noticing it, seeing it. You see it and you're like, oh my God, that is me. And then suddenly you start to really be you, especially add in strategy and authority, and suddenly it gets easier. Your whole life gets easier when you come to know we're a binary consciousness. There's a duality inside of us. Think about that, Moni. We're not, I think I am this. We are binary consciousness.
To give a bit more context, we're going to talk about the profiling gates, and this is kind of going to be the foundation of how we're going to go through these 6 lines. The profiling gates are the way of consciousness, and so there's 8 of them, and we can split them up between these gates that go from the identity center up to the throat, and then we have on the bottom we have the tribal defense gates, and so these kind of lay the entire foundation of understanding the profile lines.
And so the first thing to notice just by looking at this, the collective has nothing to do with our identity and how we can profile our behaviors, our actions, and our ways through this world. But the tribe does, and clearly the love of self does as well, because here they are in the G center, love in the home of our identity, our love put in a direction. These are 8 aspects you will live out, period. And you're tightly bound to them. And you're tightly bound to them as it relates to your cross. And they will show up in your life. And when you fight them, you make the wrong choice. And when you allow them, you are yourself. And so it's not just the investigating martyr, a 1-3 profile. That gets into a lot of stuff. And then we say a lot of things about it. These are those things we end up saying about it. And there's 8 of them. And we never get to them all when we're reading for somebody. You're going to want to after this. That's me. That's me. That's you, all right.
And like fleshing out these profile numbers. Because it's like, yeah, we have some really good keynotes, the investigator, the hermit, and that gives us a lot, but actually fleshing out into a lot more detail what that all means and putting together the pieces. I find when I do readings for people, it's not like I'm telling them things they don't know about themselves. It's always, pretty much always, things that they're like, oh my God, I totally do that. That's totally me. How did you know? It's a lot of those that they knew kind of disparately about themselves. And then through human design, we can provide a context of how these different aspects of themselves actually work together in a kind of cohesion and how to vibe with that and how to flow better and more smoothly in your life.
That's exactly right, Moni. Please just notice these names, take a screenshot, pay close attention to them, your values, how you come up with you're going to be intimate with someone or not. I'm reading down at the bottom part, how you actually care, meaning also the ways in which you don't care. You're going to give yourself a break when this is all done. The fellowship, the listener, the self-expression, my uniqueness. And the fellowship says all the stuff that people told me, my role that opens people up to me, and the other one, my role that opens me up into the world, the army, so that I can go out and be influential. How are you influential? How do you behave? All of this stuff is locked up in here.
Starting off with the first line, investigator. This is unconscious and conscious introspection. And we're going to start off by looking at gate 10, which is the behavior of self. So this archetype of behavior with the first line is modesty. So it's modesty whether it's on the design or the personality, but what's interesting is it's modesty by nature on the design, because the design is the body, it's the physicality, whereas on the personality side, it's modesty as a behavioral identity.
One you act out and you totally are aware of, the other one exudes itself out and you become aware of it. They essentially get the same thing done. And by the way, a little bookkeeping we probably need to mention this. We are going to go through 8 gates. These 8 gates are the profiles, period. There are genetic profiles that make up the total of our profile. And you don't need to have any of these gates in your body graph. You are living these out whether you have these gates or not. I mean, people need to know that. I don't have a gate 10. It doesn't matter. The profile is set in stone, and you will live out these aspects of that gate 10. You just don't have a gate 10 in your body graph, so, you can't be that incarnation cross or whatever. I get it. But you have all the genetic material that causes these behavioral and natural ways that we are rolling in and working within us through these 8 gates, whether you have them or not.
It's almost like a pre-established algorithm.
Yep.
Like it's just in our programming. So thank you for clarifying that. It's like, yeah, we're going to go through each of the 8 gates that we just showed on the profiling gates page, and we're going to go through each of those for each of the lines. So yeah, as Danny said, doesn't matter if you have these gates or not, it's still just like part of the algorithm. And ultimately, like you are going to experience all the gates within the 64 gates of the body graph. It's just a matter of it's consistent or not. But again, doesn't matter for what we're talking about.
This is what everyone recognizes as the investigator, the thing that blends in. becomes the foundation of the whole hexagram and of the lower trigram. And this thing is looking inward. It's a behavior that is not pounding itself onto others. It's quietly investigating until it feels good. And it resonates with an awareness we call basically fear and concern about whether it's protected or not, whether it's okay or not. What's the word in the, we have uncertainty, we have security. It's interested in its own security. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what this modesty is. It's the first line. It's the investigator, and they're just modest. That modesty is, hey, I'm blending in until I know. And then when we go through the rest of these roles, you'll be like, that blender inner, that guy that blended in. Now that he knows, wait till you get to gate 7 and see what that is. You can see these things are distinct behaviors and distinct ways that we are from one another. So he could seem mostly modest and so forth until
Gate 7 is about the self in interaction. So for line 1, it's the authoritarian. On the design side, it's the type, again, the physicality and the physical expression, compared to on the personality side, it's the projected attitude of the authoritarian.
and all of this becomes projected what we are right now, except for, yeah, no, even gate 10, it's all projected because as it works its way to the throat, these are all projected channels. So you have to project this out. But when it's on the design side, oh no, he's just that type to attempt, they want to step into leadership. There is a natural proclivity to have this authoritarian who's now an authority on the subject he built a foundation on, step in and attain a certain level of influence. Gate 31 above, the polarity that says, I'm influential temporarily anyways, but it's projected. Everyone's got to agree to it. So you can see how this can go awry, and you can see how it could go perfectly well and shared. It's designed to share your projection of how this should go. And I don't want a second line sharing that. The second line might not know what the hell the foundation of the whole thing is. He might just come in and think, oh, everything's always this way.
I'm just good at this.
I'm just good at this. Watch, it works like this. No. Let's get the cat that will do the actual foundational analysis and investigate and give us something we can rely on more than possibly.
Yeah, and that insecurity of the first line, like it's not a bad thing. Insecurity is the first step to developing that foundation and becoming secure in something before the next thing feels insecure. And then the first line investigates it to develop the foundation to become secure in it.
Insecurity is not a problem, it's an awareness. I don't have a full foundation yet. So if somebody asks me to step in and teach this class, how about I be honest and say I'm not ready yet? The insecurity taught me that. I'm not secure in the information. It's not supposed to be, I'm insecure with my whole self and my whole. No, you're not. You're not, I promise you. It's just an awareness that this first line has got to study a little bit more. That's all. Yeah, imagine saving somebody's way, just letting them know that one thing.
So next up, gate 13, which is the fellowship. It's the listener. And so that archetype of the listener with the first line is empathy. And on the design side, it shows up as the memory, whereas on the personality side, it shows up as the limited perspective, empathy.
This gate 13 is very important, and we're starting at the first line of it all, which is wicked important. And this whole empathy business, it says gate 13 is our role in our openness to the other. This is our projected role in the invitation for the other to come in and speak. By the way, when someone speaks, they speak out their uniqueness. They attempt to, or they scuttlebutt around trying to find it, one or the other. Either way, you now know more of the collective history because whatever they're speaking their experience. And that's what 13 is here to do. It's in that experiential sensing side of the collective circuitry, and it is the end of the road for where the information finally gets stored. So this is the storage of all of it that through its collective memory says, this is a direction for us. And line 1, because it wants to be an authoritarian, has extreme empathy. Empathy is just another word for extreme openness. You got something to say too? Oh. And you? Oh. And then the authoritarian finally gets there, they get to know the thing, and then next thing you know, the empathy is like, it's limited. It's a limited perspective, and it limits what you see quickly. And it also is limiting. Sooner or later, I need not have all this empathy for that. Yet the first line still generally is empathetic. If you speak to a first line anything, the first thing they might very well do is stop and listen like a gate 22 will. Just to see if it's interesting, if there's anything, there to hang on to. So empathy is extreme openness, but look at these two. I'm extremely open, but I'm an authoritarian. This is our blended way. You will live out both of those if you are a first line, because this nature and this behavior is in you already through the profile.
Continuing on to the gate 1 archetype, it's self-expression, and it shows up with the first line as creativity. On the design side, it's the direction. So it's the direction of creativity. Compared to the personality side, it's the aspired to role of creativity.
This is the creative role model. And when it links up with gate 8, it is doing something that even the collective wishes it could do. It's making a sheer contribution. It's just sheer contribution, but it is projected. It's still waiting to be recognized or not. But when it can make its creative, contribution into the whole, it acts very much like a collective gate, but it is not. This is the person's uniqueness. And gate 1 is the source of creation beyond limitation. This starts the pulse. This and gate 10 basically make up half of why we are looking at profile, to show where our uniqueness is going to be. That's part of the whole reason to do this. And this person is now creative beyond limitation in a pulse when he surrenders to his modesty, waits on the authoritarian aspect. They don't jump out of the gate being an authoritarian. They got to get there. But as they get there, they are there, and that is a natural way for them. Just wait till you see how that works out in the mating strategy. Very interesting. So this creativity, which becomes my unique expression, is what I aspire to, and I know it on the personality side. Oh yeah, I got that. I think I'm that when it's good. But on the design side, it guarantees a certain direction towards that. So if you have a gate 1, let's say on the personality and design side, you got them both, and there's a driving direction towards it, and an aspire to of the love of it. The aspire to is I love that. And this here, because it's first line investigative, it has no idea what's going to happen. Ergo, anything that comes through is sheer creativity, independent of will. I couldn't have made it happen. It showed up in the individual pulse.
Continuing on to gate 59, which is sexuality and intimacy. For the first line expression, it's the pursuer or the pursued. And it shows up on the design side as the sexuality. So again, the physical body expressing that sexuality. Compared to the personality side, it's the bonding strategy of being the pursuer or the pursued.
The sexuality side is couldn't really tell, but I pursue or be pursued. We call it the caveman line. You go after it, bonk it on the head and take it home or whatever. It's just, that sort of matches up with the authoritarian a little bit. But it seems like maybe it doesn't necessarily with empathy and the creativity, but yet this is you. If someone just knocks on a window, like for a second line, and tries to call it out and break through a shell, they're speaking the wrong language to the pursuer or the pursued. This is more cut to the chase because it's foundational. And our foundational way, this is about our genetic imperative to make more. So it's not an awareness. This is a generated response off the sacral to generate life. We wonder why we call it the generator. It generates the life, literally, through gate 59.
Yeah, there's a bluntness about the 59 with line 1.
I would say, or not is the thing. If they're not living out their nature, that bluntness might be obfuscation. You just don't know.
Next up, we have gate 27, which is about caring. And with the first line, it's the self-provider or the coveter. And on the design side, it shows up as the humanity. Whereas on the personality side, it shows up as the security strategy of self-providing or coveting somebody to care for you.
Think of how this goes right and goes wrong. So on the personality side, to the being that's not aware that they're a binary consciousness and they're stuck in who I think I am, and they don't know it, it becomes a nervous security strategy. Remember, fear is still in here, and it says it right in the word, security or insecurity. But it could be my insecurity strategy. I'm going to covet instead of self-provide. This binary is here is because each one of them in this particular binary is where they learn one or the other. They learn from one to become the other. The natural thing is to start out as the coveter, the 3-year-old, mine, That's what they do, but they have to learn to self-provide. And this is, again, foundational to survival. And this is how we're going to care. I will self-provide, and ultimately I will teach you to self-provide. And that teaching is going to take part of a lifetime, and you're going to get it from me because the sacral generated a response to go ahead and care. Just blunt force care. Where's that all coming from? It's my genetic nature. My humanity can't help but to care. My security strategy is like, I hope I'm a self-provider, but I'll covet if I have to. It's all very nervous about all of that. We start getting nervous over here because now we're talking to the spleen, the fear center. On the emotional side, we're nervous but anticipatory. What's gate 6 going to say? Wait till we get to gate 6. Gate 6 is the gatekeeper.
59's
What?
really like exciting because 59 is
Yep.
like, ooh, possible intimacy. Hey, hey, hey. Whereas
Right.
27 is just like, oh, the responsibility that comes with that possible intimacy of gate 59.
Oh my God. What is, just for ha-has, what is gate 50's natural fear? Do you remember?
Gate 50's natural fear is like the responsibility, is like, I have
Yes,
to
taking
care
on
for
too much,
this.
fear of too much responsibility. And it's a
'Cause
natural fear and it's intelligent. So yeah, I self-provide or I have to covet before I can self-provide. Hopefully the nature and the security strategy get learned as I start here, but I end there. I start at coveter and I end at self-provide.
So then with gate 6, which is about conflict and friction, so the first line expression is going to be weakness or strength when there's conflict or friction. If it's the first line on the design side, it's the wave resonance, whereas on the personality side, it's the emotional resonance.
Emotional because we're aware of our emotions when they finally come up to the surface. We all feel a certain kind of way. Hey, I think I'm going to feel a kind of way about that. Yeah, that's very unique to you. You do feel a kind of way about everything. And this becomes our emotional attunement to I like it, I don't like it. You're allowed in or you're not. Gate 6, I picked 3 gates of the samurai once before. I might have to throw a fourth in, but they've always been gate 12, gate 51, and gate 6. Gate 6 will chop it all off right at the head. You're not coming in here. It becomes my emotional resonance, and it can be very close to intimacy. Maybe it's not right. Maybe it doesn't smell right. Maybe my emotions haven't got there yet. Maybe I haven't waited long enough. Maybe a lot of things. So there's a gatekeeper, but of course, line 1 of gate 59 of that gate is still pumping out this capacity to break through that 6. So they call it friction and conflict, and the conflict is I'm trying to break through, and the conflict over and the friction is, yeah, well, let me slow you down a little bit. I have to measure my emotional wave to all of this. How do I feel? So the conscious behavior is like, how do I feel about this? And everybody knows I didn't feel good, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
And no one ever feels good about that. Or whatever it was, by the way, but no one ever feels good about opening themselves up when they didn't want to. And we know that we're emotionally tuned to that, and it puts a trip on us. The wave resonance of this is they're calling it wave resonance because it's in our body. It's just a wave that pours through where we have a resonance to what we will allow or won't allow. And it's either a weakness or a strength. That's the thing. We can get weak. Oh, I shouldn't have. Or we can be strong. Oh, I absolutely should or should not. And so we move between weakness and strength as part of the measurement of our emotional and this wave resonance to the allowance of the intimacy that will fulfill the rest of the genetic imperative. This is the source wave from 59 to 6 that fires up our capacity to be emotionally aware beings since 1781. So it's on fire with sacral juice. Gate 59 is dedicated to the process, and it is either on or not because it's a sacral response, and it's got a genetic imperative to make more. So it just wants to break through and make more. And gate 6 wants to say, well, hold on a second, maybe not. Or maybe it doesn't want to do that. But either way, it's got a want, and we've got to pay attention to it.
Gate 50 is about the values. It's about tribal values. And again, it's weakness and strength. On the design side, it's the frequency resonance, whereas on the personality side, it's the awareness resonance.
We give this the word awareness because it is our oldest awareness. The spleen is the center where we started. It is immediate survival, and goes into gate 50 into the spleen. This is about gate 27 reaching gate 50 in the spleen, creating the channel of preservation. And so when this channel's here, it becomes our genetic imperative to determine that we haven't bitten off more than we can chew, to determine that the right values are there. And the reason it's frequency resonance is because on the design side, we don't know what's happening. It's just a frequency pouring in, but we are resonant to it or not. And that's the gut instinct we often get about should have, shouldn't have, that whole thing where I knew it. Geez, I knew it. I shouldn't have taken that left turn at Albuquerque. You know what I mean? It's just, right. It's just, I shouldn't have, or I should have.
Yeah.
That sense that we always knew it so often is in here. It's a frequency and we become resonant to it. And if we listen to that voice, we will learn very much more how to care and preserve the offspring that we made on the other side. And by the way, it cares and preserves for everything else. This is how our elderly get taken care of. This is how this is how the garden gets taken care of. This is how everything gets taken care of or not. And a lot of things don't get taken care of, obviously, because gate 50 has to be aware. It's got to have a frequency of awareness that says too much responsibility. And that leaks over, obviously, if you have it on the design side, it's just awareness resonance because you're aware of it. It's on the personality side. You're like, oh, whoa, maybe too much. And you suddenly have a hit now that you can speak to. Whereas before you'll have a hit that you might have to process for a moment, but it's giving you a clear signal if you're paying attention. You're starting to get the picture why you need to know both sides of you. This is just line one.
It's just the foundation.
It's just the foundation. So we've just gone through what is the foundation of humanity's role together in our general interaction as ourselves with one another, right? That's what we just did. We just foundationalized that for you guys. Wake up. Just a strong reminder. All of these things, put them together and see that there are 8 things to you. And if you really want to make it complicated, there's technically possibly 16 things to you, right? Because there's 8 on the design and you could see it this way. But in reality, just look at it as the 8. They come together and look at it as the blending of my humanity and my security strategy, or my type inside, which becomes this projected attitude. What type of projected attitude? My roles and interactions. So you have all these 8 things, and we go on to line 2. You still have all these 8 things, and 3 and 4. So we get through all of them. So when we get to a profile that is a 5-2 profile, you have all these things twice. You have it for the 5th. You have it for the second line, and you are the blending of those things.
Continuing on to our second line, Hermit, which shows up as unconscious and conscious projection. Starting off with the gate 10 archetype, this is the behavior of the self. So the behavior of the second line is as the hermit. On the design side, it's the nature, it's the physical nature, whereas on the personality side, behavioral identity shows up as the hermit.
So again, out of the design side, it's just your nature. Oh, that's just how they are. So if you're a 6-2 profile where that second line is on the design side, I'll point it out to you in a reading and you'll be like, yeah, no, I get that. And you'll start to see it as a part of you. And you'll still question its nature because you haven't been looking at it. You last saw it when you were 4 years old, by the way, and 5 and 6 and 8 even. But you start to lose track of it a little bit. So on the personality side, you clearly see it. It becomes the hermit. You want to basically, as your role as it is, you will behave for yourself first. It's the successful sidestepping of everyone else's behavioral requirements through isolation. Where'd they go? They left. Apparently they didn't want to hear it. And wait do you see what the hermit protects itself with as its limited perspective and how it chooses to get along with everyone else. It's hilarious. In order to be a hermit, so it can be in its little bubble and in its shell free and have a free nature that is free of the influences of everyone else, largely it requires this hermitage, successful sidestepping business to work. No one can remove themselves like I can. I can get out in the middle of a crowd if I need to. Sometimes I just walk away. I'm done. Where'd Dan go? I don't care. I don't say I heard that. I'll walk farther away for a minute.
With the personality side, with this behavioral identity aspect of gate 10, it's like a conscious identification with like, oh yeah, I'm totally a hermit. Whereas on the design side, it would more be their underlying nature that they just act as a hermit, but maybe not consciously identifying with it as it would on the personality side.
So you just won't quite see it the same way until in a reading and doing an analysis, we point it out to you. Analysis is the best thing. Everyone should drive themselves in and book an appointment to get this, to see what this is. You can start your life the way you want to as well.
So the next gate is gate 7, and this is the self in interaction. So how the second line interacts, and it shows up as the Democrat. On the design side, this is their type, again, that more physical expression that the design side provides, whereas on the personality side, it's the projected attitude of the Democrat.
Same thing again. Type just shows up. Well, that's their type. Sort of like that's their nature. I guess that's just my type, so right, it's something you sort of accept that just seems to be there. But on the personality side, no, I project this out. I'm projecting this attitude. And as the Democrat of the Hermit simply doesn't want to be involved with most things, they mostly are a Democrat at how they project their attitude. And they're not stepping into places of influence until someone truly does call them out. They'll support the influence, they'll go along with it. Hey, everyone wants to paint the house red and blue, it's a little odd, but whatever. If everyone votes for that, that's my vote too. That's the Democrat. Just sort of goes along with whatever everyone else says because it's easier that way. And that's a cool picture sitting there in the cube.
Thanks.
Except the only thing is that I wish there was a way to make a head look like so that it's not looking out the cube, it's looking at its navel,
Yeah, just painting, doing their own thing, and there's
Yeah,
a crowd
yeah, a
outside
little
looking
easel
in.
in front of it, but so that
Yeah,
they can't see anything. It's like, oh, there might be life out there, but I'm painting
just
something right now.
blinders to the world.
Totally, the hermit crab is cute.
Thanks.
So the projecting outwards, I mean, we can see what that is, and then suddenly, when the Democratic vote is no, Danny, you help us put this thing forward, then and only then, if the calling is right, then the Democrat comes out and says, I guess I was elected. And by the way, they love being influential. Everyone loves to be able to basically externalize their uniqueness sooner or later. We're all in the externalization business, even though that's a fourth line quality.
So next up, we have gate 13, which is fellowship. This is the listener. And so this shows up as bigotry, which will be a fun word to unpack. And on the design side, the memory, right? So gate 13 is the story keeper. It's the secret keeper. So on the design side, it's the memory, whereas on the personality side, it's the limited perspective of bigotry. Help us unpack that word because it's got a bad rap. So maybe we could make it a little bit more understanding of that.
Me help you unpack that? Whatever makes you think I can unpack that.
I just got a feeling. I got a hunch.
Yeah, no, I'm a second line profile and I know it all too well. In the memory side, again, the listener is listening for the experiences of all of humanity to create its Library of Alexandria, its Encyclopedia Britannica, and its unabridged dictionary and everything else you can think of as it relates to the storage of all of this, including it creates the scrapbooks that go in a certain order and all the memories and every last thing and the songs, right? And the stories we tell and the events as they happened or as best we experience them. This is the experience teller of the whole thing, except in the second line, they don't want to be influenced. I might listen to a few little bits of what you just said, but very soon there's this tapering process. Less interested, less interested, less interested. Okay, your allowed words, use of words at me at this time has concluded. Please step lively, next, or I'm out of here. And it's not personal. I could love this person totally, and I just suddenly am like, oh, they're telling me something. I'm not listening. I'm not. This is the little child that puts their face. No, no, no. I'm not listening. I'm not.
I
This is
can't
that.
hear you.
Yep.
That's so funny. It's like the blinders to the world that the hermit has just kind of come up on you.
And very often the other side doesn't sense it because they're democratic. They don't, whatever. They're sort of
They're
going
so
along.
chill.
You just sort of chill, but really we're just watch the second line's eyes so you can see when they're checking out. It's not their fault. It's on their face, by the way. All of this stuff is also the limited perspective and this projected attitude and all this projection of stuff. This is where projecting our face gives it away. This is our inside face, the face that we are when we are self-contemplative and discovering our openness to the other, which is personal, intimate, self-contemplative. Our attitude out into the world is outwardly not so contemplative, it's discussional. We're out in the world trying to externalize what is the thing. I got elected as a hermit. Yeah, I like this thing. I feel called. Okay, let's do it. Now suddenly I'm influential towards the thing until my election period is over. And that's a healthy way to look at this. But as it relates to listening to what you're going to say, I bigot you. You were saying something, but 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 10 sentences later, I can't take it anymore. It's interrupting my internal harmony, which is the next line.
So then we have gate 1, which is self-expression. So the self-expression of the second line is harmony, which on the design side shows up as the direction, the physical direction. And on the personality side, it's the aspired to role of harmony.
I aspire to the role model, the creative role model that will take all of my uniqueness into the world through a direction of just allowing the common good of harmony to hopefully exist, just like the Democrat. And hopefully the bigot doesn't get too sharp and found its way out politely, which is what second lines do. They're the king of polite things and or segues to get out, as polite as possible, usually. And that's so the harmony can be maintained. This harmony is harmony within first, before also then harmony without. You can have one without the other. There can be harmony out there, it's working, and something's going on in you. And there can be disharmony out there, but you maintain inner harmony. Mostly it's looking to put them together. They need to go together, is the thing. So harmony in general allows the creative direction to go. Being have to listen to something you don't want to hear for too long and then being forced to stay there interrupts that harmony like there's no tomorrow. Being forced out of the democratic role into something more aggressive, let's say, for whatever reason, or your not self takes you out of it, or circumstances do sometimes, the harmony starts to go away. Suddenly your creative role model is a little quieter. Remember, this is my absolute inspiration with the possibility of no limitation, independent of will, coming and drawing and pushing my uniqueness out into the world through gate 8 that contributes the next best thing to the entire world is what every gate 1 is aspiring to. Something of greatness about them. Have nothing, it's independent of will. It's just exciting newness, and it's spoken through here. And it requires harmony for this cat to get there. Can't have all that agitation. Just can't have it. That's why I have to stop them from talking. That's why I'm a Democrat. I don't even get to the bottom lines of why red and why black. Oh, because these two fought about it, and when they go back in time and they have a story, I don't have story schmory. I voted yes already. I gotta go. I gotta go. I'll be right back. I'll be back later. I'll hit you back later. Okay, gotta go. All right, bye. They're just the king of okay. Hey, I got eggs. Yep. See you. Love you. Bye. And the thing is, they do love you. They just need to stop the information going in so they can maintain their harmony. Their harmony gets agitated by too much other stuff.
Next up, we have gate 59. So this is about sexuality and intimacy of the second line. So this shows up as shyness and boldness. On the design side, that's the sexuality, that's the physical side of it. Whereas on the personality side, it's the bonding strategy of shyness and boldness.
Remember, these are your personality sun earths. If you have this on the design side, let's say you're a 6-2 or 5-2, this is going to show up in something that you really should have listened to every time you were bold before you were shy. This is a unidirectional place that is not exclusively unidirectional. The response can be bold before it's shy. It rarely ever works that way. But I'm not the keeper of what is a response. You know what I'm saying? No one is. So I have to leave room for that. But we'll call it 99. You're moving from shy into bold. This is your way to see, do I want to be called out of the shell? Are they knocking on my window just right? Did I even notice they're knocking on my window? Is this the right? Do I want? Is this a thing? I better start talking. Let me see where my bigotry ends. It might not be there. I might be so interested in what this person is saying, my shyness will move to more boldness. Remember, at this point in time, this is a genetic imperative. So now all the other behaviors, the hermit that is coming out of it, the hermit or the hermit is not the hermit, right? Sometimes the hermit is exactly not the hermit, got called out. Now he's the opposite of a hermit. Hey, let me tell you about my thing. Hey, let me tell you about my thing. Hey, let me tell you about my thing, right? Because they're called out. That's the boldness part. And here it's, hey, let me impregnate you now. Hey, let me impregnate you now. Well, I mean, ish,
No, I know. Yeah.
let's be intimate now. Let's maybe make more now. Now they're not thinking that in their who I think I am part of their world because they're thinking, hey, let's play it safe. Do I have to take your time? We all know that. It's just that the genetic imperative doesn't, and it is driving you, and it will make you basically take that chance. Every time you do this thing, you're taking that chance. Don't tell me you're not. And so it's doing its part. It's forcing the possibility of baby making, and that's all it cares. It doesn't care about the life. This shyness to boldness is a strategy you recognize in your personality side and you sometimes fight it. Like somehow you're supposed to be bold. Let's say you're a dude and you're supposed to, right? And all that conditioning about being a dude, da da da. You're still supposed to be shy first. You let it brew its way through your barrier. It's got to sneak through like a clever, healthy virus, essentially. A virus has to infect you before you're coming out of your shell as yourself. Healthy virus. There's lots of healthy viruses. We live in a sea of.
Like the yogurt bacteria, it's the good kind.
Yes, yeah, all day long, and a million other things. Have some sauerkraut, please. Um, and
Kimchi.
so, yep, kimchi all day long. This is how this is working. On your unconscious side, why am I this way? But I am. On my identity side, where it's my personality, it's you recognize it and you may or may not fight against it because it slows things down. The pursuer or pursuit seems to get things going a little quicker. And we're in the world of, hey, let's go faster, not slower half the time. It's right manifesting generator conditioned and manifester conditioned all day long. Pay attention to this. If you're second line on your personality, you're shy first. By the way, if you're a married couple and you're watching this, Greg and who and Leah? Greg and Leah, if you guys are watching this, riddle me this. Are either of you a second line on your personality? I think one of you is, I forget. Was that person shy and the other person bold first? That very often will be the case. It's just a thing.
Continuing on to gate 27, which is about caring. And so the second line shows up as the Nourisher or the Depleter. On the design side, it's the humanity. On the personality side, it's the security strategy of being the Nourisher or the Depleter.
Every line has its security and humanity strategy. When we say strategy, it means this is how you're going to be. And you're going to, again, we always give you a binary self, not self as a binary, exaltations, first and second expressions, a binary. It's always a binary. All of these are what we're supposed to happen when it comes to this splenic side for gate 27 through the life. From baby to 5, from 5 to 10, from 10 to 15, the depleter is supposed to turn more towards the nourisher sooner or later. Should they become a parent at some point, they will need to be the nourisher because they'll have a little baby depleter. And that's how it's viewed, by the way. In its nourishment, I am called. In its depletion, I bigot thee, it's too much, I don't want, I didn't vote for this. My harmony is gone. You know what I mean? So when you start getting to that and it feels like the depletion, you got a problem going on. This is basically what you're not. You're not meant to feel and be the depleter the whole time. You're only meant to have moments of it. The older you get, the less you are of it, but not never, not never. I'm still to this day the depleter sometimes in order to become the nourisher again. Right? I need resources. Like I'm about to move. I don't know where I'm going to go. I'm about to deplete some of my second line, whatever that is, because sooner or later a friend's going to have to take me in. I'm going to have to ask my mom. That's the depletion part. I'm going to have to move in with someone for a little while I sell my house and get another place. That's depletion. But then I'll get back into something and the nourishment will happen again. This is the waffling process of the second line. The second line rings with uncertainty. If the first line rings with fear and insecurity, or just call it security or not, this rings with uncertainty or not, because it can't tell. It's the second line. It doesn't even know people are looking in on it. It can't tell what the heck's happening per se. It's got to sort of experience it and feel called into it, and then the energy shows up. So all it has to do is run into something it's not familiar with, and it starts to have to deplete again. All these second line children, don't make them move out of the house at 18 years old. I mean, unless they're gangbusters getting out, that's one thing. But mostly the second line profiles, personalities in your family as children are need more time. They don't know where that calling comes from. It took me till almost age 30. Thank God for my parents, man.
Next up, we have gate 6, which is about conflict and friction. With the second line, this shows up as advance and withdrawal. On the design side, this is the wave resonance of advance and withdrawal, whereas on the personality side, it's the emotional resonance of advance and withdrawal.
And this whole advance and withdrawal thing now, this is the emotional side. Advance into intimacy, withdrawal. That's going to be up to gate 6 on the other side. It actually is self-explanatory. All I really need to do is point out again, wave resonance speaks to this phenomena of it is in you, like Moni was saying, the blood in you. You don't know what your organs are doing. They're in you. They don't tell you. Let me get a printout of every keystroke, Mr. Kidney. Yeah, that's going to be fill up like 10,000 pages every day. So all we can get is a sense of until it comes out of a tunnel. And that tunnel is then something we interact with. But on the emotional side, on the personality side, it is an emotion we can sense. And it doesn't matter if we have to find solar plex or not. We sense that. We have a sense of emotionally this feels good, emotionally it doesn't. And we also have plenty of not self sense of being confused because you went in too quick and you didn't listen to all of these other strategies that are behind you. The hermit that's out in the limelight too long when he wants to hermit is not going to make the right decision about whether to advance or withdraw. It's not going to happen naturally. This is a natural moving process here. Again, this is the genetic side of our behavioral. Up top in this G center are the behavioral role gates that are just straight up behavior. These are genetic role gates that also equal behavior, but they're required genetic tribal things that make and support the creation of life and everything around it. I advance or I withdraw speaks just like shy and then bold, speaks just like deplete or nourish. And my whole personality that I'm really aware of is either a hermit or not, and it's sort of going along to get along or not, and it's listening more or less. It's role and openness to hear and be a listener is either more or less open, just like everything else. The gate 6, as we get here, it's less open, it withdraw, more open, advance. It doesn't go any one particular way here, by the way. And you can't put advance with shyness or withdraw with boldness. It's just this is a binary that goes back and forth. Shyness and boldness, that goes one way.
So finally, we have gate 50, which is about values, tribal values. So this shows up as determination or not. On the design side, this is the frequency resonance, whereas on the personality side, it is the awareness resonance of determination or not.
And besides the hermit itself, this is probably the largest mover of the second line, and we never ever get a chance to talk about it. Determination or not, there's two ways to look at the word determination. I am determined to get this thing done. Well, that's the second line when it gets called. And I need to make a determination as to what is this thing. And ultimately, we are making the determination that we are called. But mostly, this is speaking to the determination of the self. And it's through great awareness of my values that I am determined to answer this call and be called into this bond or not, to be called into where is it I will leave my hermit shell and bring out into the world my uniqueness, being called into the advance or the withdrawal. And it's very also, especially being called into finally becoming a nourisher. Every second line wants to be that. And when the determination shows up, they can. And when it doesn't, they sort of can't. It's just like you would expect out of the second line as it relates to on off. It's called or it's not called. So determination or not. And when you put it all together, you again realize the second line, we haven't even gotten to 3, 4, 5, or 6 yet. And the hermit and the Democrat and bigotry and harmony, these 8 things here, please identify them with yourself. There's 8, not 1 or 2 or a little bit of this. It's all 8, smashingly so.
So continuing on to the third line, which is the martyr, which has a special place in my heart because I'm a 3-5. So the martyr is unconscious and conscious adaptation. So this will start off with gate 10, which is the behavior of the martyr. On the design side, this is the nature. And on the personality side, this is the behavioral identity. This one's really fun because, again, it's mine. And the martyr, it sounds kind of funny, but it's basically the trial and error process because the third line, we are basically bumping into the world at all times. That's why I picked the graphic of like the guy tripping and the guy slipping, because that's pretty much what the third line does. Whereas like the first line is insecure until it creates its foundation. And then the second line becomes that natural expression that is just projecting out that they know whatever that gate is, even if they can't explain it. And then the third line is it's engaging with the physical world. And the third line is basically bumping into the physical world at all times. So it's basically this trial and error. Like we make mistakes, but they're not mistakes because it's how we learn. So you have to learn to just laugh at yourself because otherwise we can be pretty rough on ourselves.
You can be pretty rough on yourselves.
Yeah.
And as we get through these things, you'll start to see why. We get to pessimism is one of the things we get to. Bonds made and broken is another. We'll get to them in a minute. But just the martyr itself, the martyr is following their principles. The martyr ultimately has gone through the stage of, the love of self. It's in the world. It's gone through the stage of being natural. Not that it's gone through it, but I'm saying evolutionarily, we've gone through it. And by the time the martyr hits the stage, evolutionarily speaking, and within us, this is a design to sustain at following basically the things that become your principles and become, you know, in a way your convictions, and become the thing that the martyr doesn't always have to tear something down, but when it does is the thing, you know, and that comes in their projected attitude. And ultimately, in the bumping in process, the nature of the martyr is just they bumped into it and it's a surprise, and the behavioral identity is, oops, I did it again. Right?
Did I do that?
Yeah, right. And we got to get our third lines to see it's not that, it's really, oh, what did I discover? Because this martyr becomes the determined discoverer. They discover this and that. Ultimately, they're the arbiter of what does or doesn't work. And they're the top of the trigram. These profile lines are split very firmly in their trigrams. We will see as we get to the fourth, fifth, and sixth lines.
Yeah, definitely. The third line is now I know not to do it that way. We are the universe's beta testers.
Yep, all day long.
Next up, we have gate 7, which is the self and interaction. So the third line is the anarchist, another heavy word that we will be unpacking. On the design side, this is the type, and on the personality side, it's the projected attitude of the anarchist that's bumping into things, seeing what doesn't work, and starts to like rip it apart because this doesn't
And
work. So tear it
I
apart.
and it doesn't work. And in their type, becomes self-evident in its type, because they don't know, it comes out of a tunnel that this isn't working. And the tear it down takes so many different shapes and forms, obviously, but it becomes a nature of yours that you see as, oh, that's just my type. That's, I guess I'm that way. But as a projected attitude, it comes out and says that it's gonna, because it's aware that that's me, and it comes out and lives out it's gonna, and it knows it's living that out. The anarchist is just a potential, because don't forget, this is leading to influence. And so if something does need to get teared down, who is going to be the most influential? The person who tore it down. So whatever's going to be followed or voted in or projected and then recognized, the anarchist isn't fully the anarchist if their projections fall on deaf ears, right? What is their anarchy to? Their anarchy just goes inward. So, you know, be aware of that. Um,
Oh gosh, just being self-destructive.
Self-destructive,
Woof.
absolutely. And so let this anarchist out when it needs to come out, but you don't need to live it. And please don't identify with it. This is an aspect of your behavior we need. We just don't need you identified with it where you think your whole life is anarchistic,
Yeah.
because some people will.
Yeah, and that kind of goes down a very destructive path. So, ability to tear the things down that don't work when it's correct for us to turn them down, and we're kind of invited to tear them down.
And they don't need to be invited. It is an anarchist, by the way. They can do it
Well,
all self. Their self can sustain at doing it on their own as
I just meant
needed.
because Gate 7 was part of like a projected channel.
Well, and it is, and that projection is where it is best. But I'm saying the anarchist can work cumulatively and collectively with the other, or they can just go it alone because of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
next their creative output. The creative output shows up as, oh, we won't see that next. We'll see that after. Yeah.
So gate 13, this is the listener. The third line, it shows up as pessimism. On the design side, it's the memory. Gate 13 is about collective memory. It's the secret keeper. So the design memory of pessimism compared to the personality side, which is the limited perspective of pessimism.
Yeah, pessimism is this thing that's supposed to be basically all information coming in starts out to some degree with a certain amount of a skeptical eye. Because the third line is used to finding things that don't work. They can't be a second line that
Why
says,
can't
oh
we
my
just have
God.
nice things?
Well, no, the second line is like, I just saw this. I must be the first person on the planet, and it must be the greatest thing ever because I just saw this. And suddenly it can be fooled in that way. How many times have you been like, Danny, that's already in the world? And I was convinced somehow or other that I was like, oh my God, I just discovered the coolest thing because I thought it. Right? Talk about a 4-year-old. I just saw
It's
the coolest, you know. Yeah.
There's a naivete. I don't want to say gullibility, but there's a
Well,
naivete maybe to the second line in a way where the third line's like, no, that's bitten me before, and there's a pessimistic attitude because all we do is bump into things that don't work, and we're like, why can't it just work? It's like because we're supposed to be the ones who learn what works and what doesn't work.
but it is
So
a certain gullibility
a
potentially. You,
naivete.
yeah, you've seen me fall gullible and naive to like your jokes. Sometimes you'll be saying something and you're totally joking. And I'm like, what? That must be taken seriously. And I suddenly, and it doesn't make any sense that I'm taking it seriously even until you point out, dude. I was,
I'm just messing with you.
I'm busting with you. I was like, oh, it worked. Every time, that's what I say. Oh, it worked. That's a motto of the second line, but not the third. The third is no, no, no. It often doesn't work, period. I know that for a fact. Shut up, second line. You go back to your little hermit cave because you ain't helping me here unless you're going to do exactly what I say. And tear it down, they do because the pessimism told them to. It's not working. Or not engage in the first place because the pessimism said have a skeptical eye. Or works just fine because the pessimism, with its necessary skeptical eye, took a few precautions beforehand just because they know so well what doesn't work. They're the providers of what doesn't work. What's bad is when pessimism turns into something that you think you have to live with all the time.
Yeah, I've been there. I totally have been there. Yeah. The third line has some intense words to it.
Sure does.
Continuing on to gate one, which is about self-expression. So the self-expression of the third line is sustainment. On the design side, this is the direction. On the personality side, it's the aspired to role of sustainment.
Yeah, sustainment is really cool. This is something that they need. This is that aspect of them that says the third line, if you knock them down, they get back up. That's what
We
this
are a
is.
Chumbawamba song.
Yes. And so when we say words like aspire to roll, you don't aspire to be knocked down and get back up.
But
But
we sure do
as
it.
as you aspire, you sustain. The greater the aspiration of your creativity and your uniqueness, that's what the aspire means. I aspire to contribute my uniqueness and my creativity and myself, not as anything else, just as my freaky unique self. In its aspiring to contribute, it sustains. These cats sustain at this stuff. In that sustainment, think of it, I'm sustaining at this, but I don't really know because it's just in my nature, and I'm sort of discovering that, as a way of mine. That becomes direction because as you sustain, you move in that direction of whatever that you're aspiring to. And on the personality side, it still is partly a direction, but it's it, you see it working, and you're become knowingly determined to do the dang thing and sort of keep at it and sustain and get back up when you get knocked down. This is my creativity shall sustain until it is contributed or not.
Yeah, I like it because looking at Gate 1 in the main human design book, it's the energy to sustain creative work. So it's that falling down and getting back up again because you need it. If you're going to be
Yep.
creative in the material world, you're going to bump into this works, this doesn't work. This works in these circumstances, but in these other circumstances, it totally doesn't work. And just being able to be super adaptable. So that's like the main word is conscious and unconscious adaptation. So that
Yep.
energy to sustain the creative work when you keep getting knocked around and falling down, but getting back up again to go again another round with the material world as the third line.
Often does. Yeah. That's their jam.
Continuing on to gate 59, which is about sexuality and intimacy. So this is bonds made and broken for the third line. So the sexuality on the design side, it's the sexuality of bonds made and broken. On the personality side, it's the bonding strategy of bonds made and broken.
Again, one side the other side you don't know as well, right? And so as your just sexuality that pours out of you naturally, you're there making the bond, making the bond. This is our guarantee that we make bonds. Third line's guarantee we bump into this one, we bump into that one. The genetic program and the genetic imperative loves the third line. The third line is going to bump into the most interesting things and create the most interesting matchups. It's what can I match up with this? Oh, let's put this one with that one. Oh, that's some nice new genetic material for the program. The program is interested in making more. It does not care about the divorce rate upstairs in the real world that we live, and our behavior has to exist. It just says make more. Truly just understand that it does not care. Every single time you're being intimate with your partner, you fell in love, maybe you'll get married, you're starting to talk all serious, it's gorgeous, all the good stuff. But every single time you guys make love, the genetic imperative's like, maybe this is time. This might be that time. She said she's not ovulating, but maybe we'll get in there anyways. That's all. If I can, I'm anthropomorphizing the process, but it's the same process for her. Let's say you're both a third line. Her process going on inside, even though she's like, oh, I have all the precautions, whatever. Her process inside is maybe this is the time. It's the same damn process. Doesn't matter, guy or gal. It has to make that bond. But the thing is, that which is sooner or later becomes that which is not. Bonds made and broken. What this third line needs to realize is the bumping into things doesn't need to create a sustained creative way that demands the constant breaking of the bond or a fully broken bond. It can literally just survive with, like, oh, I'm breaking the bond because I went to the store.
Or stepping out
This
of the room.
stepping out of the room, or very often it's breaking up and taking a little bit of space. That will happen, but that's not what's supposed to be the norm. And the thing is, these third line people who aren't aware very often have deeply broken bonds and deeply made bonds that weren't necessarily right for them,
Uh-huh.
and they didn't need to deeply make, and they also didn't need to deeply break. They
Whoops.
could have, oops, yeah, well, this is oops, I did it again line.
Yeah.
And that's how it finds out. And that's how it makes the most interesting genetic material on the plane. It just does. En masse, you take all the third lines, you're going to have the most interesting genetic material. It guarantees wide variety. Our genetic base is so wide. It's just so wide. We'll never go the way of the cheetah the way it stands now, is the thing. Just understand, make the bond. And as soon as the bond is your yes, your feels good, your recognition, it feels right for you, it's the right surprise, the right feeling, the right, all the other stuff. Don't break the bond for good. You don't have to. Sometimes the feeling is there. That is a learned memory in a learned, conditioned way that isn't you. You're a sophisticated being. You can break the bond like 1/100th and just go to the store, or go to work
Or just
instead of
step away from the rooms. Like it's like
right,
the littlest, like it's bonds made and broken and made again and broken again. It's the hanging out, separate, hang out, separate, hang out, separate. It just because we need to
right.
bump into something new. And if we sit there too long, there's a stagnation and it almost like it builds until there's going to be a
Really.
bigger breaking of the bond if you don't do a natural, smaller breaking of the bond. That's a really nice cat you have on your head.
Yeah, he's up on the top of my chair.
We can see.
Balancing. That's
Yeah.
not right, Willie. Thank you, honey. The only other thing I can think of say about bonds is it is a deep thing that has to be done. So keep making your bonds. Don't let pessimism get in the way. Chill that pessimism. If you're a third line, chill the pessimism into an awareness, not a way.
Continuing on, we have gate 27, which is about caring. And this is again bonds made and broken. So this is a twice showing up theme. On the design side, this is the humanity expression. And on the personality side, it's the security strategy of bonds made and broken.
And think about this word humanity. This is our love to preserve and make things go great as possible. Not just preserve, but preserve it with style and preserve it well. This very much is our humanity. Gate 27, very often, whichever way, I don't really know what's the folklore behind it all, but Mother Teresa, whatever we've always thought of that would be like the caring humanity or some saintly figure from something. It's just
Mhm.
this always on caring. Its only capacity is to care or not. It's a whole sacred gate dependent on opportunities to care or not. So to have to respond to, we don't want that humanity responding to a needle or to bad ideas that like literally turn conditioning into a nightmare because it can totally go awry. But mostly with these bonds made and broken, it's about how much I do care. I cared for my baby. I can take a rest for a minute. Oh, I can go back and sustain at that again. I can take a rest for a minute. Bonds made and broken with your own baby. It's perfect. It also guarantees the capacity for something new because each time we make the bond, it's now new. Something might happen a little different this time. Something might happen a little different this time. And with the third line, it's not like that's out of the question. How do I care?
And little like bits and bobbles and increments on and off.
Well, yeah, mostly on, but there has to be moments of off.
There has to be a separation, yeah, to then bump into the next thing to care about.
Now, the third line is not even okay if it's not bumping into things. It can't not bump into things. Basically, this bond's made and then broken. The broken is so it can make it again.
Yeah, it's
So
bonds made and broken and made and broken and made and broken. It's just that continual process. Continuing on to gate 6, which is about conflict and friction. So the third line shows up as allegiance and rejection. On the design side, this is the wave resonance. And on the personality side, it's the emotional resonance of allegiance and rejection.
Yeah, wave and emotional resonance. So again, inside pouring out of you as sort of you just again, you can look at that like your nature, just like at the very beginning of the list. And then emotional resonance, we definitely know this is gate 6 business. It is completing the 59-6 channel of mating, channel of intimacy. And it's not aware until it gets to gate 6. Gate 6 becomes an emotional sensitivity. It's the pH of our body. It's either opened or closed to the intimacy, and it will sour or sweeten that pH depending as needed to allow in or not, or create too much friction for the entry of gate 59. Gate 59 is looking to penetrate, period. And it's designed to break through barriers, to penetrate barriers even in order to achieve union. In fact, that's its signature, the ability to break down barriers to achieve union. That's 59. As it does that, it either as the martyr, it must have an allegiance. The allegiance shows a certain depth. There's a certain depth that these people had to have in order to be the martyr and stand by their convictions in the first place. This allegiance becomes just like the leader and the follower. They become the capacity, and it becomes a desire in a sense to either reject or allege with one another. It's bumping into what's worth doing either one to. It's the king of finding what I do reject, so it can be the king or the queen of finding that where I have allegiance. Allegiance is life to the third line. Loyalty and care is life to a second line, and even partly a first line. But allegiance truly is life to a third line.
Continuing on to gate 50, which is values. So the values with third line, shows up as partnership and dependency. On the
Mm.
design side, it's the frequency resonance. On the personality side, it's the awareness resonance of partnership and dependency.
Partnership allows the bonds to make and break. Dependency is can't break it. When you fall into dependency, it's when you're a child, and that's where it's supposed to be. Most third lines live a wretched life if after their teenage years, the bonds they make become dependent, where they can't break it. One has an open spleen and the other doesn't. Can't break the bond, don't know how, hang on to that thing, and it's not good for me. This is when deep problems will come in. That dependency is only there, just like mine and my second one where I was nourishing or depleting. I got to recognize, oh, I'm in the process of depleting now temporarily, right? I have to do this or do that. This is, oh, I'm in the process of dependency. I don't have my autonomy. I'm going to run out of things to bump into. I won't bump into what's right for me. I can't be the anarchist, and I know I need to. Pessimism now through the roof. It's just awful when it goes there. Partnership and dependency as an awareness towards what should you care for. This is the ultimate expression of goodness, or the absolute just rejection of forms into those broken relationships that go nowhere and hurt. And they see it and they live out a life of that, or they wake up to their nature. Your third line, you got a really cool nature to wake up to. Book an appointment. Let's wake it up. Oh,
If you want to
see,
book a
right.
reading with Danny or myself, check it out. The QR code is also down in the description box below. And it makes sense overall with that like bumping into things and, bonds made and broken and made again, the allegiance and rejection. It's kind of another way of saying bonds made and broken, partnership and dependency, even a little bit there. It's just like, are we working together? Is it too much? So that on and off, that falling into something, that bumping into something, all of that really resonates. If you are interested in booking a human design reading with either myself or Danny, check out the QR code above or the link down in the description box below. You can use code AWAKEN to save 10%. So if you've been curious about your human design or your loved ones, friends, and family, and you want to learn a whole bunch more about it, check out our links and book a reading. We can have a lot of fun, teach you a whole lot about yourself. And if you've been getting a whole lot out of our channel, like to help encourage us and support us, check out our donation link above, or that is also down in the description box below. And as always, thank you, Danny. Thank you to everyone who is liking, subscribing. That really helps us out. Thank you for commenting and asking us questions. It really makes us happy to engage with you guys. We love having you, and we'll catch you next time for another show.
Much love, everyone. Till the next time.